Guys, welcome back to the channel. I get this question all the time. There's a lot of investors out there that are wanting to start. They're wanting to get off the sideline. Where is it that you can start? How do you start? If you knew nothing about the stock market or investing, what are some of the principles that you could deploy to actually start investing from scratch? So you're going to want to stick around, guys. As we dive into this topic, we're going to aim to answer some of those questions for the beginning investors out there that are just looking to get their feet wet and get started on a program. Guys, stick around. All right, guys. So I'd like to welcome everybody into the message. For those of you who are new to the Independent Investor channel, my name is Ryan. I am a self-made wealth builder on his way to $500,000 net worth, and we'll be at $1 million here into the future, and we'll meet our financial goals. And I think that's a very powerful statement. I'm not one of those fly-by-the-night investors. I don't come on to YouTube to provide answers for the next best thing. I allow the masses to provide those types of entertainment venues. This, in fact, is more serious and a lot more in line with fundamental wealth building strategies, that of which I've deployed over the course of my life. And the bottom line is they work. All right. Now, the bulk of the Independent Investor channel subscribers are, in fact, folks who have been recommended to the channel. Okay. My content does not garner a lot of attention for the algorithm, nor do I spend any of my time appeasing to the needs of the algorithm. What I end up doing is appeasing to or trying to curtail my message to those investors out there who are looking for real answers to the real questions that they have about looking at an investing landscape and saying, how is it that I can tackle this investing problem? I want to get involved, but how do I do it? Do I really need to seek out those stocks, these penny stocks that are making huge returns overnight, or is it a lot more simple than that? Okay. In this video, I'm going to run through the 5 things that I think you need to do to hit the start button. Okay. These are things that you can look in the mirror. You can take a scratch pen and paper and write these down. If you really are serious about wealth building, I can provide you the motivation, but the initiative has to start with you. It has to. And a wealth building program doesn't need to be made overnight. It doesn't. It needs to be incorporated in your life and understood to be something that'll be with you the rest of your life. So let's get right into it. The first thing I want you guys to really understand is that if you're pursuing a wealth building strategy, you need to make sure that you're having a fair acknowledgement to the amount of debt that you have in your life. Your debt fitness has to be assessed and it has to be reduced. If you're carrying some debt, whether it be $2,000 or $3,000, $5,000, $10,000, maybe you're carrying some student debt, maybe you're carrying some unsecured debt, maybe you're carrying some secured debt through a home loan or an auto loan. Nonetheless, you want to make sure that you're evaluating those types of debts, especially on the unsecured side of the house. If you're paying higher than average interest rate on a credit card, we need to try to get that under control. Now, this is relative for all people. If you're making the income that justifies carrying a $3,000 bill on a credit card, well, then you can also justify paying that down, because it makes no sense to pursue an investing program or strategy for yourself if you're losing money to the back end on the negative interest side of the house. Okay, so we want to make sure that we're assessing our debt fitness and doing whatever we can do to reduce that debt, to make sure that we're getting the maximum amount of our money and we're not allowing our money to be lost to negative interest over time. Number 2, you're going to want to have to curb spending habits. Now, you guys that are new to the channel, I'm here to tell you that the United States specifically is guilty as charged as far as this goes. We spend way too much money. It is culturally in our blood to spend money. We wake up every single morning and we're wondering what it is we need to do with our time. Why don't you try making it through one day without spending a dime? Okay. That would be a challenge that I think a lot of people could not meet. And I find that interesting. I really do. Now, I'm not saying don't live life. I'm not saying don't take vacations. I'm not saying don't engage in some luxury opportunity. I understand totally. I offer content podcast on this to allow you guys to separate sunken cost from more of the luxury cost in your life. What I'm saying is you don't need to live in the lap of luxury all the time. If you're always succumbing to buying, we need to try to curb some of that. Because if you are habitually stuck in a rut and are engaged in bad habits of spending, then how do you expect to engage in a program where I'm going to require you to fund your own program at some point? If you're always justifying every expenditure out there under the sun, then you're probably not going to find the importance or the value in paying yourself first. And at the end of the day, each and every one of us have to be held accountable for the decisions that we make in our life. So we have to spend less. Okay, we've got to curb our spending habits. Those self-made millionaires out there are probably not the ones that are the most glamorous and the most obvious. Okay, those self-made millionaires have got there for a reason. And this is a big reason as to why they've got there. All right. The next is you're going to have to build a plan long term. This speaks to a lot of Robinhood investors. I know there's 10 million people out there that are signed up for Robinhood. I feel that in most cases that is ill-advised. I do, because if you truly are building a long-term plan, then you would justify the tax protection within a Roth IRA. Okay. If you're making more than $140,000 as a single person, great. Then you can talk to me about justifying other accounts. But the sheer nature of the fact that Robinhood does not offer retirement accounts tells me a lot of where they are trying to put the focus on their marketing program. And a lot of people are succumbing to that. And I'll just happen to be the voice of reason on YouTube. If you're catching this and you're sticking with me and you actually want to learn something, start with a nice retirement account for yourself. If you end up coming into income later on in life, great. You may be potentially ineligible to contribute to that Roth IRA down the line, but those dollars are going to remain in there. Then you can backfill with the taxable brokerage accounts if you see fit down the line. But I think a lot of people put the horse before the carriage and they end up opting for the taxable brokerage account first. Big mistake. Set up a framework that's going to set you up for long-term success. And the Roth IRA allows you to put tax protected dollars in there that will grow and evolve with you over the course of your life. So you have to build a strategy for the long term first. Okay. If you want to go after the sexy growth stuff, if you want to go after that stuff, great, do it, but do it in due time. Okay. We need to tackle this investing opportunity calculatively, and we need to do it with using some fundamental structure in your program. Okay. The last thing I will say, the next thing on the list, second to last thing, is to fund your plan. Once you have that Roth IRA established, there's going to be a $6,000 cap to that per year if you're a single person, or if you're married and your spouse, you have that benefit doubled to $12,000. Okay. So you're going to want to make sure and fund that plan. Okay. And this becomes interesting when people are saying, it's okay, I don't need a Roth IRA. I'll just go with a taxable brokerage account because I'm retiring in 10 years. That's not what is appropriate for the masses. Okay. The masses out there make less than 140,000 or less than 210,000 for a married couple, and absolutely have all the eligibility to contribute to a Roth. They just opt for whatever reason not to do that. But funding that plan can start at $25. It did for me. Okay. Now that's a token amount. To reach your financial goals, you're probably going to have to increase that over time. But the idea here is not to focus on the $25. It's to focus on the ability to pay yourself first and pay yourself in a strategy and a program that you've built for yourself. Okay. It really comes down to paying yourself. And this is what this critical stage from really going from a non-investor to an investor and really understanding how to originate and build wealth from scratch. And the last thing that I will say with regard to wealth building, getting off the sideline and initiating a program for yourself, is to make sure that you evolve with your program. I didn't say throw in the towel on your program. I didn't say panic out of your program. Okay. There's going to be a lot of investors that are investing into 2021 that start an investing program. And I'm not going to sit here and promise that we're not going to have volatility into 2021 and beyond. Nobody knows where the stock market is going to end up. But you have to stick to a structural plan and evolve with that plan. Something that can really help you is if you're funding that plan over time, understand that if the market does go down, that you're making those funding contributions at cheaper levels. And you're more apt to stand the test of time if you truly understand the dynamic of the stock market. It doesn't always go up every single day. It does go down. And when it does go down, you need to evolve with the idea that your program long term will be kept intact. Guys, I really appreciate you tuning into this message. You want to leave your comments if I've missed anything. In this generating wealth from scratch, it's a super, super important fundamental wealth building initiative. All of this I've done myself. I currently don't have debt. I currently don't spend a lot of money. I have my strategy and my plan as a very, very high priority in my life. And if you guys are catching this message for the first time, it's really important to gain a little bit of motivation from this in saying, man alive, if this guy says I can do it, I absolutely can. If you enjoy the message, you want to make sure and subscribe to the channel. And most importantly, you want to share this message with anybody out there that is looking for fundamental wealth building that actually works. If you're looking for fly by the night, next best thing, get rich over the night scheme, I'm not your channel, okay? But if you're looking for the truth in investing, come onto my channel. We'll take care of you and we'll build real wealth organically for you and yours. Guys, thank you so much for tuning into the message and good luck in your investment future.